The Dawn of Education, exploring the history of medieval universities with your host, Alex Ray.
Education is the base of our intelligence, our application to having a successful life in society today. Now, in the 21st century, there are over 4,000 types of academic degrees one can earn. Our modern-day schools of higher education strive to enrich men and women of every age, nationality, and religion to become captains of industry, leaders of countries, and ambassadors of academics. In order to know how these studies originated, we must go back in time, almost 11 centuries, to the medieval era. Today we are going to learn about and explore medieval universities in feudal Europe. Universities as we know them today started out as scholastic guilds. These guilds were financed by and under the rule of the king or the pope. These local guilds were predominantly for tradesmen or for secular studies. These studium generale evolved into what we call universities today. By definition, a university was not ruled by the king or the pope. It had its own leaders, who developed their own rules and regulations. The first university in medieval Europe was the University of Bologna, established in 1088, followed by the University of Oxford in 1096, and the University of Paris in 1150. Teachers would be paid either directly by the student, or by the church, or by the king. Initially, medieval universities did not have a campus. Classes were taught wherever space was available, such as churches and homes. A university was not a physical space, but a collection of individuals banded together as a universitas. Soon, however, some universities began to buy or rent rooms specifically for teaching and learning purposes. At these universities, the teachers focused their studies around the 7 liberal arts arranged into 2 tiers. Students began with the trivium of grammar, rhetoric, and logic. From this, they proceeded to quadrivium, the studies of arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. The bachelor's degree was granted after 4 years, and the master's degree, which allowed one to teach, after an additional 3 years. To obtain a doctorate, the graduate had to devote the next 10 years to the study of law or to the study of the Queen of Sciences, theology. The primary emphasis of most institutions was the study of logic. Only men could study at a university, and they first entered at 14 to 15 years of age. These students were under legal protection of the clergy. The universities of Paris, Bologna, and Oxford were the first models for university systems as we know them today. As we move forward in time, let's examine the universities in feudal England. There are 7 ancient universities in Great Britain. They are, in order of development, the universities of Oxford, Cambridge, St. Andrews, Glasgow, Aberdeen, Edinburgh, and Dublin. Today, we will focus our attention on the oldest of the ancient 7, the University of Oxford. What is now Oxford University apparently started around 1096, with 60 to 100 students assembled around the Priory of St. Fridswide. Sometime in the late 11th or early 12th century, Oxford became a center of learning for training clerics. In some ways, Oxford University was never really founded, but evolved over time. Students were drawn to Oxford because of its firm establishment as a successful academic center. The friars, or monks, who dedicated their lives to study and worship, came to Oxford to create schools and colleges. Both the Dominicans and Franciscans arrived in Oxford between 1221 and 1224. Several others followed, including the Augustinians, the Carmelites, and the Trinitarians. The first 3 colleges at Oxford were Balliol University and Merton, all originating between 1250 and 1277. By the year 1300, There were approximately 1,500 men at Oxford. However, the Black Death hit and the number of students fell to only 600 by the year 1350. Amid the plagues and the Hundred Years' War between England and France, the student population remained small. However, in time, with monetary gifts and papal support, Oxford started to rebuild. Some famous students and/or teachers of the medieval period included the most well-known of Oxford's early students, and the first to be canonized as a saint, Edmund of Abingdon, was a wealthy merchant who became a monk. He became Archbishop of Canterbury in 1233 and was canonized in 1246. Adam de Mariscal, an outstanding early Franciscan, earned the degree of Doctor Illustrious and was a trusted advisor to key leaders at the time. Roger Bacon. He became a Doctor Admirabilis and one of the first scholars to summarize all known science in the service of religion. He regarded the neglected study of mathematics as the key to all other science. William of Ockham published many works on logic. He is identified with the principle of Ockham's razor, which basically says, whenever a simple theory explains a problem, stop and don't try to complicate it any further. Geoffrey Chaucer, author of the Canterbury Tales. John Wycliffe, theologist who wrote on the truth of Holy Writ, declaring the Bible to be the only true guide to divine will. Oxford was the third greatest university of the medieval period, but it has expanded on beyond the Middle Ages, all the way up to modern civilization. Today, Oxford is known for educating the best and brightest minds in the world. Oxford alumni include about 100 archbishops, 25 British prime ministers, 4 winners of the Nobel Prize for Literature, and 3 for the Nobel Peace Prize. The school is home to authors such as Lewis Carroll, who wrote Alice in Wonderland, and Theodore Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss. Oxford has produced some of the world's most influential scientists, including Albert Einstein. English kings who attended Oxford include Edward VII, Edward VIII, and Henry V. World leaders such as Indira Gandhi and President Bill Clinton graduated from Oxford. From their roots in medieval times, universities have become the cornerstones of academic achievements, igniting worldwide growth and progression from the Dark Ages through the Age of Enlightenment and the current age of technology. Thank you for joining me in this journey through the dawn of education.